All right. First off, thank y'all for coming. Want to give credit to Louisiana Monroe, their coaches and their players. They did a tremendous job on Saturday. Played a really good football game by them. We did not do the things that we've done all year to put us in a position to win football games, and obviously that's very disappointing in that. This past game is now part of our journey. We got to put it behind us and learn from it and move on from there. And looking forward to playing a great opponent this week in Paulson, Troy.
Coach, you've only had one loss on the season to have to rally the team behind, and that was to Clemson. Not to say it was expected, but a little bit different time this time around when you go in as a favorite and you lose to Monroe. What did you have to change your persona at all after the game? Have you had to talk to them in a different way than you have had to a lot during the season after a game like that?
I'm not going to change who I am and how I approach things, but we have to talk about it differently for sure. I mean, it's definitely a loss. What I've seen from this football team this year is we've been able to overcome adversity in ball games and then win. This is now adversity where we've lost the ball game, and now we've got to go into another game, and we got to make sure this doesn't linger. So obviously we had to talk a lot about that. We had to talk about that it's not the end of the world, even though we feel like it. It hurts. It's painful because we have seen a lot of success early. So I think it was important that we understand that it's just a different type of adversity, and how we respond to it determines what type of character we have.
One of your biggest jobs as head coach is, after a loss, diagnosing it and getting to work solving problems right away. I asked both Kendall and Shai whether all the hype from the last week had impacted their team's performance this game. They said no right away. So with that off the table, what have you been able to diagnose the last couple of days after this loss as something that you can get to work fixing?
Yeah, I really don't feel that way. I don't feel like it was the noise. I don't. I'm sure some of our guys, I know they heard it, but we addressed that, and that's things that we do as coaches. We're not going to sit there and act like that it's not there. We addressed it early on. We talked about how this would be a tough football game and that we had to bring our best game. I think after watching it, I don't think we had the juice that we needed. I think we came out flat. I think we did some things that were very uncharacteristic of what we've been this year. Pre-snap penalties by our offense, and then a couple snaps that kept us from getting our plays started. We didn't really get done what we needed to get done. And when you watch that football game, there was a time we missed the first opportunity with the field goal, and we just didn't rally. There were a couple other times in the game where we got a pick six, went for two, got it within 16. We should have more juice level there to know that, hey, we're still in this ball game. Didn't do that. Later on, we got a block punt, scored a touchdown, got us within 16. Still no juice, So ultimately, that lies on me. I got to make sure our team's ready to go. I got to make sure that they understand that we're never out of it. Even though we got punched in the mouth and we didn't respond, we were not out of it. And we got to learn from this, and we will.
Coach, you mentioned just some of the things that, like pre-snap penalties, things that are as simple as having a little more discipline, being able to fix. But you look at yourself and your coaching staff, a long resume for most of your coaching staff, and you've seen games before where even if you were to erase some of those things, there are days where things just don't go your way or you can't make those plays, seemingly whatever it's called. Is there a message you have to younger kids who haven't been in as many games like that, who maybe have always been one of the best players on the field or able to lean on athleticism, and they're not used to one of those days where just nothing happened right for them?
Yeah, I mean, we got to understand that when things don't go right, we got to reset. And we've done a great job of that all year. We didn't this time. On defense, we were not able to keep things in front of us. We gave up way too many explosives. And instead of, like we have all year, resetting, go play the next play, we started hanging our heads. And so that's just, maybe it's maturity. I don't know. We definitely have done a good job of it all year up until that point. But you got to give credit to ULM. They came to play, and we needed to bring our best game, and we didn't. And so ultimately, that falls on me trying to get these guys ready to do that. So we're going to work hard this week, and we're going to make sure we're prepared to go play Troy.
A lot to play for here on Saturday against Troy. It's the seniors' it's their senior day. They still may have another home game, but it's senior day for them. You also have the opportunity to control your own destiny. If you guys win out, you're going to be the Eastern side champs. So a lot to play for there on Saturday with Troy.
Yeah, again, we put up some expectations of our football team early on in training camp, and every single one of those expectations and goals are still there. So we talked about that on Sunday. Again, I think it's important to go ahead and address the things that's going to get brought up so that we're not sitting there going, okay, now we're going to start thinking about it instead of thinking about this game. So we went ahead and addressed that. We talked about our expectations. We talked about what is in front of us. But again, to accomplish that, we've got to go into Troy and try to get a victory at home this week. So I feel very confident our kids will be very focused in on what we got to do this week.
Sorry, Coach. One last question about the last game. This is from the newspaper. They're not here. They asked me to ask you this question. What did you think of Shy's decision-making on Saturday? With Shy or with any of our players, sometimes you make decisions and it's got to be split-second decisions. And when you go back and you analyze it on film, sometimes you say, well, we could have done this better. I think there's a lot of teaching moments in that game for Shy. I think there's a lot of teaching moments for our players. There's a lot of things to learn as coaches in this game. So I think the biggest piece to this is coming out of this game going, hey, let's learn from this thing. Let's make sure we teach our guys, all right, when you get this situation, whatever it is, this is what we're looking for. This is what we're looking to do. So I think it's just an opportunity to get better.
Coach, you mentioned you spoke about it on Sunday to the team that everything is still in front of you. How did they respond, and what do you really want to see out of them this week in practice? Mentioning Juice, Shy talked about it as well. How eager do you want these guys to be? What's their mood kind of like at the last few days?
I get what maybe this question is kind of leading to. I don't want our guys to really change. I want our guys to be what they've been every week. Yes, we had a bump in the road. Yes, we came out flat. Yes, we didn't play like we needed to. And, and that's not acceptable. We want to make sure that we show up every day. But I want the guys to understand that our journey, our process, whatever you want to call it, we don't need to change that up. It has worked. And so why change something that hasn't worked? We got into a football game, and our formula to win, we didn't use it, and that's why we didn't win. So we got to make sure that we're doing those things that's gotten us to the point that we're at right now.
Coach, what do you expect out of Troy? I would imagine you gave up over 500 total yards of offense last week and a lot through the air. Troy throws the ball. You expect them to try to challenge your DBs and throw the ball a lot. And what do you expect out of them on their defense against your offense too?
Well, I got a lot of respect for Troy. I got a lot of respect for Coach Brown. I mean, he does a tremendous job with that football team, and they're very well coached. They play hard. Obviously, when you watch the film next week, I think from last week, they'll look at it and go, man, we can exploit some things. We just got to make sure that we get ourselves back and we understand that we got to keep everything in front of us, just like we've done on defense all year up until that point. We got to make sure that we're not giving up the big play. We got to make Troy's offense go earn it. They've got playmakers. They got guys that can go do it. So we got to make sure that we're on point as we do this. It'll be a great challenge for us on defense. And then as far as our offense going against their defense, I mean, again, we're going against a very athletic team, a team that's very aggressive, a team that likes to really get after you with their different styles and can go different variations with this. And so a lot of things that we need to make sure that we're ready for, and our guys understand that this will be another dogfight for us.